Welcome to Conducting Literature Reviews. This video is created to help you find sources that support your student research project. Specifically, this video will cover how to use library databases to find scholarly journal articles and other sources for your literature review on your student research project. Use library databases to help you cite your references and schedule a research appointment for additional assistance. These goals support your student research project assignment that you'll be working on throughout the semester. Part of the project includes providing references to published scientific sources on or related to your topic. This is called a literature review. You will need to complete a literature review early in the project to help you get started and may need to find additional sources for your later milestone assignments. See Canvas and your specific assignment instructions for due dates. The library offers print and electronic information sources. This video will focus on electronic resources, although we welcome you to come and browse our print periodicals for agriculture when the college and library is open. Some of our agricultural and plant-related titles in print include Farm Journal, Successful Farming, and Western Farm Press. The Library One Search catalog can connect you to various types of information resources, including print and electronic resources. Electronic resources include open access scholarly journals. The library has several additional tools to help you find information sources that are not accessible through a general internet search. Let me demonstrate how to access library resources from the college website. From the college website, select Academics and Library. Once you are to the library's website, click on Assistance and Research. On this page, you will find the links to access the library's databases, search the OneSearch catalog, as well as obtain assistance, including booking an appointment with a librarian for guaranteed availability. I'm going to show you an example of using the OneSearch catalog as well as one of the library databases that we will find here. Let's start with the OneSearch catalog. It's usually best to open the OneSearch catalog in a new tab. The most important thing I can teach you about finding information has less to do with the tools or databases we use and more to do with the words we use. Whatever you type into a search box is your key to finding information. Computers take what you type in literally, so it is important to think about what you want first. By defining your needs and strategizing about which keywords you will try, will provide you with more relevant results. Let me show you an example. If I enter in a search term that is too broad, I will get too many resources and be overwhelmed. If I enter a search term that's too specific or narrow, I may get too few results. So let me show you an example of this. Let's say I'm interested in orchids. If I just type in the word orchid, I get 59,381 results. So if I want to be more specific, I can put in a specific type of orchid. Now I have fewer results with 2,247. I can also use quotes, which will search both of these words in this exact order instead of doing it as what we call an OR search and looking for either word. If I use quotes and do a phrase search, I now have 371 results. Another thing to consider is should you use the common term or use the term that professionals and researchers would use. If I use the term that experts and researchers use, I will likely get a different set of results than if I used the common name. So these are all things that you will want to consider when you are doing research. If you're not quite sure what you're looking for, you may need to do some sample searches before you can get a little more specific. For example, once you definitely decide to do research on a specific type of orchid, then we probably need to be a little more specific than that. What about this orchid do we want to find information on? So an example of that would be to add another term, such as fertilizer or roots or something that's relevant to your needs. And when I do that, I now have 242 results. If the results look like they're going to be helpful, then it's also a good time to consider limiters. Although you can also consider limiters when you're not quite sure to narrow down the results as well instead of keywords. So basically you have two options when searching. Use the keywords and use the limiters. Those are your two main areas that you'll want to focus on to get good results. Now, if you're typing in keywords that you know are accurate and the limiters are not helping, that's probably because we don't have coverage of that. We are a small college library, so you'll find when you transfer, you'll have a lot more information at your hands than you do here. But the good thing about having less is that it's a little bit easier to sort through and it gives you good practice. So some limiters that could be important, at least in the one search catalog, would be this open access limiter. That's the one benefit to this one search. Although it searches what we have in print at the library, it can also search these open access journals. Although you can also search these if you do a general Google search, but these get them all into one place. Additionally, there's another tool that I will show you that would be helpful for you. But before we look at that, another good limiter to use would be the date. If you don't want things all the way back to 1900, we can raise this up to another time period just to see what kind of research has been published more recently. I click Apply Filters, and now I am down to 79 results. Those will be the two best limiters that you'll use for your search to use open access articles. If you see a title that looks interesting, if you click on it, it'll open up the record for that particular article. And it should give you a link to the full text availability. So when I click on that, it'll open it up in a new window, and it gives me the ability to download the PDF. So open access means that it is open to you for free. You will not have to pay for it. However, not everything, depending on what you click in the limiters, you may end up getting things that are not free. But that's not what I am showing you with these particular setup using the open access results. Another tool that's really good for you to know is the citation feature. If you click on that, you'll be able to get various types of citations. APA is the closest to the type of citation that you'll need to use, but you will need to make some adjustments to this. For example, take the publication date out of parentheses, and then you'll also remove any issue numbers and the URL and DOI. This record may also help you decide if you want to use this article because it shows you different subject headings that it's a part of. It also gives you a description. A lot of times these descriptions and the different subject headings you could find could be a source of additional keywords that you might want to consider. Or if you're still deciding what you want to research, it may give you other ideas about things that you can look for. So just to summarize, the One Search catalog is helpful for finding open access journals in addition to print resources we have on campus. I only focused on the open access since that's something anyone can access even when the campus is closed. The two filters that are best would be the open access and the year. So let's go back to the library's Assistance and Research page, and now we're going to click on Access the Library's Databases here to access additional library databases. Usually it will ask you to log in with your student ID number and your password that you use for everything on campus. Once you're logged in, a good section to look at would be the Science and Math section. Academic Search Complete, California Agriculture, JSTOR, and ProQuest Research Library are all good databases to try for your research for this class. I'm just going to select one of them to show you, ProQuest Research Library. And that's because a lot of the features that you'll see in one, you'll see in the other ones. Now, we're also presented with search box here just as before. So again, this is where it is important to make sure we enter the keywords that we want the experts to have used so we can find information written by experts. So notice I put in a search term. I have 1,378 full text results. If I only want peer-reviewed, I can search for that, but I know you're not restricted entirely to peer-reviewed, but you do need to have one. I can also tell from the icons here, and that would have been the same in the one search. They had icons as well. I didn't point those out, but these icons help give us clues to what type of material this is. So this is a newspaper article, whereas this is a scholarly journal article. If I want to, I can also add in a second search term, and that will narrow my results more. I can also narrow by publication date, just as we saw in the one search, to different source types. If I click on more, I can select several source types at once. So maybe I don't want dissertations and theses or reports, but I want all those other things, then that will also narrow it down. And let's do the last 5 years. And now I'm down to 20 results. So I'm going to click on one of these. Let's do this one. And when I click on that, it'll open up the record. If there is full text in what they call HTML, so it's just here in the web browser, I can read it. If there is a PDF that I can view, I can click on that and read the PDF, which is usually the best way to read it because you're seeing the information the way it was presented in publication. So to me, that's helpful. I also have the cite feature here. Again, the one that's closest to what you're using is APA, but don't forget to make some revisions to this so it matches the type of citations that you're asked to do for your assignment. You can also email and print it, download, and there are several other options here as well. And when you're ready to go back to results, you go back to your search results to click on another article or revise your keywords if you're not getting exactly what you want or you need to find additional information. So I hope you found this brief introduction to how to use our tools helpful. If you need additional assistance, you can book an appointment with a librarian from our website. So when you click on this, it'll open up a new window. You can book up to 2 weeks in advance. We open on the 25th, so I can click on a time. You just enter in your details, and once you confirm the booking, you'll get an email. We will meet online. The email will have the address to meet online, but it will also show you on the screen here when you complete the booking. So then it's easy to meet with us and get assistance. Sometimes you just need someone to bounce ideas off for keywords or help you with finding things when things just aren't working the way you think that they should be. So we're here to help you regardless of location or world events. See you later.